What's going on, everybody? It is Super Bowl Sunday. We are outside here hanging out this afternoon. So got a few things going here today. Not traditional appetizers because everybody else is doing those type of things today. We're going to a Super Bowl party later today. I'm expecting those traditional things, wings, everything else. So we got a few other things we got in the mix today. All right. So first of all, I've already got going on the Weber Smoky Mountain here, a little shrimp dip. This was something that I'm repeating from an episode I just did a week ago that I published this recipe. It's so darn good. I kind of double that recipe so we could use it today for that party. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it off that smoker because I'm going to need that space on that Weber Smoky Mountain for something coming up next. So let's go ahead and grab it off of there. Now this shrimp dip, when I pull off, is going to be nice and piping hot. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it in foil. I got myself a cooler off to the side here. I'm going to kind of use as a little warming device as well. So you can see there is that shrimp dip. Go ahead and close the lid on that. Keep that heat in that Weber Smoky Mountain. We're going to need that here in a moment. Go ahead and grab some aluminum foil here. We're going to top this off and try to keep it warm. Now this shrimp dip is once again something that I published about a week ago. It is an incredible recipe and it's great with tortilla chips. And really you can top it off with some sliced or diced up green onions as well. So I'm going to throw this in the cooler, keep it nice and warm. All right, friends. So I don't know who you're cheering for today. Is it the Chiefs? Is it the 49ers? Who knows? All right. When it comes to barbecue, I know which city out of those two probably does a little bit better. There's some places in Kansas City I enjoy, Q39, Joe's Barbecue, and there's many others out there as well. Not to say I don't like San Francisco as a city, hanging out at the Fisherman's Wharf. Some great food, especially seafood in the city there, but you're not going to find quality barbecue unless something has changed. So here's what we're going to do today. We got a couple of things we're going to try out today on the old smoker. So first of all, I am going to grab myself a block of cream cheese. Now we're going to do, everybody does smoked cream cheese these days, but we're going to do something slightly different with the way we have this ready to go. I'm going to use my little cast iron from Lodge here to make this in as well. I made sure this cream cheese is nice and cold. This is one of those few times I don't want it to get room temperature first because it just makes it a little easier to do what I'm about to do with this. All right, friends? So we're going to put that block of cream cheese in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some gloves on so I'm going to make myself a mess here. And since we are celebrating the Super Bowl, am I allowed to say the Super Bowl? Do I have to use the words the big game? I'm not sure. All right, but we're about to find out. So we'll throw these gloves on. And with this block of cream cheese here today, we are going to do a few things with it. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and use, so from Meat Church, this is the Holy Gospel. So it's a little mix of that Holy Voodoo and that Gospel seasoning. That's will be the season we use on there. I'm going to grab myself a knife real quick, and we're going to use that. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that next. All right, friends. So since it is we're celebrating the Super Bowl today, a little football day, so we are going to actually try my best to carve this out just a little bit. Save some of that cream cheese over here on my tray here. And what we're going to do with our block of cream cheese is we're going to make ourselves a football shape. Don't worry, I'm going to use that cream cheese for something else here in a little bit. All right, so I use my hands here just to kind of shape it a little bit. So we kind of got ourselves that oval now for that football. And we're going to go ahead and score it right down the middle and score it across the top like we would have those inseams on our football as well. Next we're going to do is I'm going to grab some of that seasoning. Now we're not going to be shy. Completely coat all of that cream cheese as well. All right, friends, so I got the Weber Smoky Mountain already fired up over here, as you can tell. We're going to go ahead and throw that on there and get that cream cheese going. Now on the Weber Smoky Mountain, you probably wonder, all right, what kind of wood do I have going on here? I've got a mix of a little bit of hickory and a little bit of apple. I always just kind of like using that good mix as well. So every once in a while, maybe substitute that apple, use a little bit of cherry, but that is what we've got going on the Weber Smoky Mountain for that wood source for us today, on top of that nice old Kingsford charcoal. All right. So while we're getting going here, so we got that cream cheese going. So I got two other things I'm going to be preparing today to take with us for a Super Bowl party. One of them is, so inside in the house today, I started early this morning, making myself a big old fresh pot in the slow cooker of clam chowder. But I thought, all right, what's a little bit of a smoky flavor I can bring to this and make this really work and really top it off. So here's what we're gonna do. Grab myself a pan here, a bag of oyster crackers. Go ahead and dump those in. Now on top of those oyster crackers, we're gonna throw just a little bit of oil. You could use olive oil. I'm gonna use avocado oil. And then, since we're using it for clam chowder, some Old Bay seasoning. With that oil here, we'll throw a glove on in a second. We'll kind of toss these just a little bit, and then we'll throw them on the smoker so that they kind of get nice and warm. Let that seasoning from that Old Bay kind of set in as well. Good thing I ordered myself a new box of gloves. I might go through a ton of them this afternoon. All right, we just use one glove and kind of toss this. So I got the oil in there. Whew, you can smell that Old Bay. Makes me think of crab cakes in Southern Maryland. I used to live out there. All right, friends, so there's that. We're going to go ahead and throw that on the smoker as well. And let them go for here just for a little bit. Whew. I don't know where you guys are watching from today, who you're rooting for, whoever you're for, put it in the comments. Is it the Chiefs? Is it the 49ers? Is it the commercials? I mean, is it you don't really care? Are you wanting to watch halftime to see Usher? Are you watching the pregame? Or are you just doing it because you want to socialize and hang out with friends? We all got a reason. Maybe you're going to see if Taylor Swift makes it there in time. I have a hunch that jet she flies on, it'll get her there. So also today we're going to do one more thing before we get started, though. You know, my wife and I were having this discussion earlier today. Football movies. There are so many quality movies out there around the game of football. So what's your favorite? I mean, there's tons of them. Tons of great movies over time. She told me her favorite one was Wildcats. I can't decide. I mean, I can go from Rudy. I can go from, Remember the Titans. I can even go to The Waterboy and Adam Sandler because, everybody needs some high quality H2O. There's so many great football movies. What's yours? Throw it in the comments as well. Let's see what people think today. All right. One more thing we're going to get ready to go on the smoker here is something that I do all the time. It's great for a snack, so it's going to be great this afternoon at that Super Bowl gathering, is we're going to prepare some smoked Cheez-Its. So for our smoked Cheez-Its, do something similar you saw us just do with those oyster crackers. All right, like I kind of got a double-sized box here today because I expect these are going to go quickly. They always do. So I got those Cheez-Its in the pan for us here. And then just like you saw me do earlier with those oyster crackers, we're going to go ahead and throw some oil across the top. Now these, a little more oil than I did obviously with the oyster crackers, and a lot more Cheez-Its in the pan. And we'll toss them here in a moment. And then a couple of seasonings we're going to add to this. First of all, we're going to grab some classic ranch seasonings. So because I got kind of a double-sized box, I'm going to double my typical recipe here. We'll go with 2 packages of this ranch seasoning today. And then something else we're going to throw on top is some crushed red pepper flakes. And I always like to be really, really generous with these. Not only does it give us just a great taste, I mean, a crushed red pepper, it's not going to bring a ton of heat, so people don't have to worry about that. It just gives it a great color, a great look, and just a great flavor to add in there with that ranch seasoning as well. All right, so we got those red pepper flakes in there. All right, my friends, so there we go. And I'm going to go ahead, since I already have it out here, why not throw a little barbecue rub on there as well? This holy gospel. And we'll get ourselves a glove. We'll get this tossed and have it sit off to the side in a moment and get it ready as well. This pan of cheeses typically take a little bit longer, especially since I doubled the size of today. Usually take about 30 to 40 minutes on that smoker. And as I'm turning those, just to make sure that I had enough oil in there as well to absorb that ranch seasoning. These Cheez-Its are always great to make during the holidays as well. Give them to friends, take them to that staff holiday party, or just any kind of party you have going on. Like I said, you're going to a party like today, and like we are, and I'm sure all the traditional appetizers are going to be there. So I thought I'd just do something really easy today, something a little different than typically might show up. All right, that oil has now covered all those Cheez-Its, as well as that ranch seasoning has been spread. So we are good to go there, my friends. So we'll let that sit for a moment while we're waiting for it to pull something back off of that smoker. You guys might be wondering what I've got for my beverage today. Four Hands Brewing here in St. Louis. This is Earmuffs. This is our winter IPA. So I thought I'd give it a try today while I was out here as well. Cheers to everybody back wherever you're watching. What are you making today? If you guys have been out in the backyard, or maybe you prepared stuff yesterday because you want to deal with it today because you kind of got some other stuff going on. Maybe you have some typical Sunday things you like to do with the family. So you got some stuff ready, but you know you can warm it up today. Or maybe you got something going inside on the crock pot today because it's so cold outside. Maybe you got some chili going. These would be good on top of some chili, by the way. Definitely recommend it as a topping as well, kind of like we're doing with those oyster crackers. I'm going to take a quick glance and see how that cream cheese is going because it will not take very long. All right, so we're good to go there. Pan is ready here. Some other things I always like to make during the season for game day, especially during like college football for Saturdays. Smoked bacon wrapped jalapenos. Some of you who follow the channel may have noticed we dropped in a new playlist yesterday. So because we've done so many different episodes with smoked jalapenos, so I just kind of combine those all into a playlist so they're easy to find for folks. Really the difference is they're always wrapped in bacon, but what's inside them? Maybe it's chorizo and cream cheese. Maybe it's more of a seafood flavor. Maybe it's more of a pepperoni pizza type flair. I've done it all. Pimento cheese. So there's lots of different variations, but if you enjoy bacon wrapped jalapenos, I advise you go ahead and check out that playlist we dropped in to our YouTube channel yesterday as well. Whew. Temperatures have been really great here in St. Louis the last week or so, and today the temperatures are starting to drop. They're calling for maybe some flurries, a little bit of snow action overnight tonight. We'll see if that happens or not. I'm not sure we're going to see much accumulation or if it'll even get that cold, but definitely a little bit of a breeze going this afternoon that we haven't seen, and the temperature starting to fall. So, which means it's a great day to be outside, firing up that smoker. All right, friends, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pan, and since I've got those oyster crackers in it, I'm going to take this pan and just because there's not a ton of room, and I don't need things on that lower rack in my Weber smoking mountain, I'm going to put this one, just set it right on top. It's still going to get that smoke infused in there as well. There we go. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, while we're doing that, I want to make sure I get all my everything else set off to the side here. I don't need this knife anymore. If you guys in your backyards like to use the gloves or not, but I always get these on Amazon, always a great deal. Um, kind of that black glove, that texture glove, they're powder free, just great. They're thicker, they don't tear. I've had other gloves in the past that tear a lot, but these do really well. Now for that shrimp dip that I've got going off to the side here, just trying to keep warm off to the side. In the pan I'm using, I'm actually going to transfer it to a different pan before we take it to that party later today. I'll top it off with some sliced green onions across there. And it's just a great dip with some tortilla chips or some crackers. I'll take tortilla chips, but because of the texture of that shrimp dip, it's a little thicker dip. I will definitely make sure I have some thicker tortilla chips. Those thin ones will just break off in there every time. I don't know about you guys. I always buy these large containers of spices, and I just don't have enough room in my kitchen. But I just keep packing them in, because I don't want to leave them in my garage or kind of pack stuff outside because of the humidity, especially in the summertime. I don't just want to keep them fresh. Maybe store some of them in the basement if you have to, but can never ever have enough seasonings. Probably a guilty little hobby of mine is collecting them and never really getting through a whole one. Using a little bit because then I find something else I want to use or lots of other ones I use. Um, Although as a go-to around my house, I always keep stocked pretty much everything from Meat Church. It's kind of just a great selection there. Either want the heat, kind of all-purpose rubs, whether you're doing the beef, chicken. The hot honey hog is always a great one as well. So I would recommend those if you've not checked out any of their spices. And I've been using lately too a lot of stuff from Spiceology. Really enjoyed some of the things they're doing too. Just kind of good mixtures and blends as well. All right, so those oyster crackers won't take very long. So I'm gonna be pulling those off here in just a moment and get my foil ready as well. I can get those covered up. Once again, for those oyster crackers, I just use simply one bag of oyster crackers. You could double it up if you need to. And for that oil, when you put the oil in those oyster crackers like we did earlier, you're really just trying to coat them just enough so you know to hold that seasoning of that Old Bay that we placed in there. You don't want it to be saturated in oil, so just a really light coating. But as you move your hands through it and toss that seasoning on there, you'll know if you need to add more or if you need more seasoning and really play with that mixture. It's really not an exact science. You'll definitely you will know it when you're looking at it when you're making something like that at home. Same would be true for those smoked Cheez-Its as well. You just want to make sure all those Cheez-Its are covered in that oil, and because you're using that dry ranch seasoning mix, that it all kind of mixes well together, doesn't clump up. So really tossing it with your hands and mixing that as well. All right, friends, it might be time here in just a moment. Just think about pulling off those oyster crackers. Once again, they won't take very long with the heat of that Weber Smoky Mountain going to about 10 to 15 minutes total. Unlike the Cheez-Its, will definitely take us a little bit longer. Ooh, yeah, looking good. Check out my heat down the bottom. Perfect. Now, those of you who watch a lot of my episodes, you'll know that I use the Weber Smoky Mountains all the time. I've got my big Humphrey pint behind me as well that I don't use very often when I'm doing episodes because when I get that thing fired up first, it takes a little while to bring it up to heat. And then it's so much room in there. I use that more for entertaining when I'm having folks over. Just the volume of ribs and pork butts and wings or everything I'm doing. I can put it all in there at once and kind of set it and forget it and just kind of keep, and then that was just great moving those racks around there. So this is a great smoker. I just personally don't use it all the time. I wish I did. I wish I had reasons to use it all the time because it is absolutely tremendous. And from our Weber Smoky Mountains, I've got the 18 and the 22 back here. This 18 has been around a long time for myself. I bought this it's been probably 14 years ago when I lived in the Pacific Northwest, and I just tried my best to keep it cleaned up, keep it using, and keep it covered when I'm not using. So it's held up really, really well. And then the 22, had that one now probably about 7 years, and I just love it. A lot more room on top of there as well. They both, if you have a Weber Smoky Mountain, it's a great smoker as a beginner smoker, as well as just one to have into your rotation if you want to have a lot of different smokers in the backyard. It's really easy to learn how to control temperatures just by working the valves on the side, down below, and at the top of those smokers as well. So I truly enjoy it. People always ask me what type of smoker they should get. And if they're going to do something with charcoal and they want to just kind of learn how to cook, I always recommend that Weber Smoky Mountain. And if you guys can hear my canopy above me, that wind is starting to pick up just a little bit, as I had hinted to here a few minutes ago. I'm gonna throw some gloves on, and I'm gonna switch and move those Cheez-Its down below those oyster crackers, and then kind of toss those oyster crackers just a little bit and put them back on for a few more minutes. They're already getting a nice golden brown, so it really only take another minute or so. And we'll pull them back off of that smoker. They won't take very long. Whew. Hopefully you guys are having a great Sunday, great February here. Getting ready for the Super Bowl, hang out with family, friends, or some of folks maybe just hanging out by yourself because you actually want to watch the game and enjoy the game and not be disturbed. Trust me, I understand that as well. And while that is going there, I'm gonna grab myself a container off to the side here real quick and bring it in so I can pour those oyster crackers in, and we'll be ready to give them a taste test as well. All right, there's that there. Throw those gloves back on. Let's go ahead and pull those oyster crackers off. As long as you got that smoker going close to 300 degrees or so, they really do not take very long at all. All right, so you can see nice and golden brown there. You can smell that Old Bay. Ooh, yeah. Oh, these are gonna be delicious. Let's give them a little taste test here. Oh, amazing. Exactly what I was looking for today on top of that clam chowder. Because obviously I don't want to smoke the clam chowder. Maybe you do. I don't. But I want to bring that little bit of just that portion, that smoky flavor to it. And so this is how I'm doing it today. Man, my friends, those are really, really tasty. Give myself a piece of foil. Cover those up. Oh yeah, man. I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to with seafood, I absolutely love Old Bay seasoning. There's nothing better. It's just a great one to keep around the house. Man, so good. So good. It always reminds me of just fresh crab cakes or, making having crabs, right? Fresh bushels of crabs. I used to live in Southern Maryland. So darn good. Those fresh bushels of crabs, you could sit and eat them all day and feel like because you're working so hard, you're still hungry when you're done. All right. Now, here's a little tip. I use aluminum pans around here all the time when I'm cooking, and I've cooked in it. It's still good though. I could wash it out, possibly use it depending on how I use it. I could also use it as a pan because I have small racks that sit inside these pans. So maybe if I'm doing some meat later, if I clean it out, I can reuse the pan. Don't instantly just throw it away. You'll know if the pan is completely trashed. But these pans are not cheap, even when you buy them in bulk at Costco or at Sam's. But you can wash them out with it because I just have the crumbs in this one from the oyster crackers. I don't need to throw it in the trash. Why waste when I can reuse? So I'll wash it out. We'll use it for that. Sometimes I use those pans, especially if I'm using a bigger smoker or if I got something where I want to catch the drippings. For example, when I'm making brisket, I love being able to catch those drippings in the bottom because I use that brisket juice in containers to use for chili later. So when I'm making homemade chili, I always add that brisket juice back in. It adds a whole new complexity to homemade chili. Even if you're not putting brisket meat in the chili, it just, trust me, friends, if you're making a brisket at home, save that brisket juice, use in the chili. You'll thank me later. All right. All right. I'm going to grab my glove here real quick and we're going to toss the Cheez-Its real fast here. Kind of mix them up just a little bit. Go ahead and throw a glove on. I might need to use my hand to mix those cheeses up just a little bit, even though I'm sure they're really warm in there. But I can see there's some spots that I'm not happy with in regards to that ranch seasoning. So I want to kind of make sure I mix them. I do not want that to clump up. Perfect. Perfect. Now, we've got that smoked cream cheese going on there as well. A lot of people make smoked cream cheese just by the block. And when you're doing it, make sure, like we did, we want to coat the entire surface, top, bottom, sides, and everything with that texture. Then some people, like, they will just simply pull it off that smoker and use it right there as a dip. Maybe they put some type of jelly or something on top of it to add another layer, and just people dip right in. I enjoy actually making smoked cream cheese with the seasoning and almost so that I'm going to use it twice. So what I mean by that is I will pull it off that smoker and then I'll mix it with another ingredient. For example, I'll mix it with chorizo, cooked chorizo, and then I'll use that to stuff back inside of a jalapeno that I'm going to wrap in bacon. So you get that extra smoke inside that cream cheese. That seasoning has really set in. So you can almost kind of double smoke, I guess you would say, with that cream cheese. But anyway, even for a dip, just grabbing some blocks of cream cheese, experimenting with different seasonings you might have. Maybe one's going to be more of a hot, maybe more is going to be like maybe a sweeter brown sugar texture. Maybe you're adding some type of glaze over the top. Maybe it's kind of a hot pepper jelly. Whatever you're doing, some salsa, whatever it might be, some fresh pico de gallo, whatever you're doing, it kind of just adding some textures to that, but it makes a great dip for people to enjoy. Easy to make, only doesn't cost you very much. Even if you have that smoker fired up, people waiting around, you got your entertains, like throw some of those out with some chips while everything else is finishing off on the smoker. You see the little bit of smoke coming out of the Weber smoking out behind me. The wind is starting to swirl a little bit out here. Once again, I am coming to you from St. Louis, for those of you who don't know that. So here in St. Louis, a lot of folks are probably cheering for the Chiefs today. Um, I don't know if many folks out here in the Midwest are cheering for the 49ers, unless they're just tired of hearing about the Chiefs, because there's always those type of haters out there as well. Like I said earlier, Neither one of them my teams, but I'm just hoping for a good game. I actually one of those people, I like to watch the commercials as well. So it's hard to find a moment to even like go to the bathroom because you can't. So there's no good time to escape. Got myself a paper towel and wipe out this pan so then it'll be easier to clean out later as well. Perfect. A quick glance at that cream cheese. Oh yeah, I got to stop opening it up. Stop opening up the smoker. I know better because if you keep looking, you ain't cooking, right? Isn't that the rule, folks? All right. I don't know about you guys. I always try my best to, the best I can, try to keep things nice and clean and out of my way as I'm cooking, especially if I have multiple things going on the smoker as well. Just have the space I need, and especially in the summertime, because there might be things I've got going on the black stone over here to the side and the smokers. So I got my prep area here, and I always try to keep myself a trash can off to the side. Always try to keep myself a cooler off to the side as well for a couple different reasons. A, if maybe I have stuff in there cold I need to pull out to put on later, or if I'm trying to use it as with some towels and so forth inside to keep things nice and warm. So I use that cooler for multi-purposes. And then other days I just have that cooler because I need some beverages in there while I'm out here and enjoying things. All right. I always try to have myself a Bluetooth speaker up in the top as well. So when I'm out here cooking, I like to keep the music going. I'm not sure if the neighbors truly like it. I try not to go too loud with it though. All right, folks. So I'm just trying to make sure I got things ready because I want to be able to show you what. Let's take and take a look at that football game day black and cream cheese we got going here in a moment. Well, I'll pull it off and take a look. And then after that, I may just kind of close things off for the afternoon because we don't have a lot more going on today. Those cheeses probably will take at least another 20 or 30 minutes. That cream cheese won't take much longer, but just give at least pull it off, at least see a glance because we as we cut it and made that look of that football. Let's see if it's starting to open up and present itself like a football as well. I'm gonna go ahead and grab those gloves since I've got it sitting inside that large cast iron bowl or dish. All right, friends, so it's still gonna need some more time, but it's starting to open up. You can see where I cut down the middle and slice, so we have that look of that football in there. So we'll throw that back on the smoker. When this is done, I'm just gonna put a little topping on top of it, some pepper jelly, and we're gonna use it with some tortilla chips as a dip. And then of course, I've got those Cheez-Its still going in here. They're gonna take a little bit longer as well. And that's going to be a great snack to take over to that Super Bowl party later. And last but not least, hopefully you like the recipe that we did today. Just making it simple with those oyster crackers, that Old Bay seasoning smoked on there. We're going to top off on some clam chowder inside that I've got going in that slow cooker. So those are the things we got going on today. We'll wrap this up. I'll come back and add some things in the description of this episode so to kind of explain some of the recipes we're using here today. I appreciate you guys jumping in, kind of seeing what we're doing out here in the backyard here in St. Louis today as we get ready for the Super Bowl. Whether you're rooting for the Chiefs, the 49ers, I hope you, your family, your friends enjoy the game. Be safe. All right, friends. Take an Uber if you need to. It's a Sunday night. Don't do anything too stupid. You probably have to work tomorrow as well. All right, because it's not a holiday. Thanks for jumping in with us. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching Bones and Brews.